Based on the great new book Uncovering Mindfulness, In Search of a Life More Meaningful, we bring you a new series of podcasts called From Mindfulness with Love by Paul Mudd, the author. Here's today's podcast. We hope you enjoy.
Are you in search of a life more meaningful? Welcome to the podcast that takes you from mindful to mindful. Leadership, resilience, compassion, success. Join the journey. From Mindfulness with Love, here's your host, Paul Mudd.
Hello, this is Paul Mudd, and that's with 2 Ds. Welcome to my second podcast in the From Mindfulness with Love series, which is based on my book, Uncovering Mindfulness, In Search of a Life More Meaningful. So, let's jump right in and break the ice. But first things first, what is mindfulness? I want to let you into a little secret. Mindfulness has been identified as a global trend for 2015. Not bad, hey, for something that's been around for over 2,500 years. The world, though, is now abuzz with mindfulness, and I believe with boundless opportunity as well. A buzz is being generated in the world of work around how the practice of mindfulness can reduce stress. And that stress is currently costing British business alone around £23 billion a year through days lost to stress-related absences. The buzz in the workplace is also around how it can increase productivity and the capacity to deal with a demanding workload, and how it can improve relationships and strengthen employee engagement. A buzz is also being generated around how we live our lives, conduct our relationships, and how we think about and act upon everyday things. So, what is mindfulness? Well, firstly, what it's not. It's not sitting with your legs crossed on a mat, neither is it West Coast soft and fluffy stuff. It's not only for followers of Buddhism. In fact, mindfulness is no more Eastern than electricity is Western. And in fact, it's very much a secular thing. Many religions have been influenced by it, and I talk about these in chapter 2 of my book. But mindfulness itself is not religious. Neither is mindfulness trying to ban the wrong sort of thoughts. Neither is it the doctrine of an evangelical life coach preaching moral mastery. There is nothing to actually give up to reach an ideal performance state with mindfulness. And certainly, it's not a shortcut to sainthood. But what then is it? Well, I think it's concentration in the present moment. An acceptance of negative thoughts without being caught up in them. A calming of the mind with conscious breathing. Enjoying and taking time over one task at a time and not multitasking. And applying the principles of mindfulness to the more mundane aspects of our lives, such as walking, eating, cooking and cleaning. It's not just me who's saying that, though. And I think it's also much, much more, as I try to explain in my book, which is called Uncovering Mindfulness for a reason. Well, several reasons, in fact, but the biggest is that I believe mindfulness is within each and every one of us, waiting to be uncovered. Mindfulness is something small and quite simple, yet it is also something with such enormous potential. It is both the universal and the particular. It's not something that can be simply contained and put in a box with a label stuck on. It's not just another initiative or management fad or self-help gimmick. Living a mindful life can have a very real impact on the day-to-day. Do you know that feeling happy comes from feelings of gratitude? You need to be able to feel grateful for things before you can feel happy. And the daily practice of mindfulness can work on where the capacity to feel gratitude lives in the brain. Mindfulness can also boost personal resilience, emotional intelligence, compassion and empathy. And big changes can come from small beginnings. With only 5 minutes contemplative mindful meditation a day, the science shows that we can benefit from some really profound changes in our levels of stress, how we think about things, and how we respond. Mindfulness is being fully in the moment and paying attention to the present without judgment. Another way of thinking about it is making a shift in your head from the destination to appreciating the actual journey. Taoism describes mindfulness as non-doing, and it has also been described as knowing what is happening while it's happening, no matter what. The poet T.S. Eliot wrote, "Every moment is a fresh blessing." And that's not a bad way to start to think about it and how you might approach living a mindful life. Think of it also as a life skill that can deepen your sense of well-being and fulfillment. And whilst mindfulness helps you to gain control of negative thoughts and emotions, it doesn't stop you feeling emotions per se. It does, however, allow you to deal with them more dispassionately and become more receptive, open, and aware of yourself in a non-judgmental way. As I said earlier in this podcast, mindfulness is not West Coast, soft and fluffy, well-meaning hocus pocus. It is in fact supported by a compelling and growing body of scientific evidence. Let me give you an example, and it's a recent one. In 2014, the University of Miami did a study of the impact of mindfulness training being used to prepare a group of soldiers for a combat situation, and found that just 8 hours practice spread over 8 weeks significantly improved performance, strengthened cognitive resilience, and reduced lapses in attention. At its heart, mindfulness is all about physically and mentally connecting and becoming aware of what is going on inside your mind and body, whilst also being aware of the outside world. It's not about zoning out, but zooming in. It's also about indulging in a short period of constructive inactivity every day. Do you like that term? I do. I think it's got a certain je ne sais quoi. Fact is, it's when we shut out and close down all the extraneous noise, the chatter of the monkey mind or the inner chimp in our heads, and refuse to engage with negative thoughts, that's when we achieve a much needed mental clarity and calm. And for those who will think it's just a little too good to be true, why don't you just give it a go? You've nothing to lose, and if you wanted to get your body fit, you'd go to the gym, wouldn't you? So, why not spend a wee bit of time building up those mindful pecs of yours as well? And I tell you what, you'll soon notice a difference. In the next podcast, we'll drill down to look at the brain and mindfulness. And in the meantime, if you want some short guided exercises to help you start to practice mindfulness, to take those first steps, Chapter 6 of my book, Uncovering Mindfulness in Search of a Life More Meaningful, has plenty. You can find it on Amazon, or if you're on Twitter, follow @TheMindfulBook, and that's capital T, capital M, capital B, and download a copy through the link there. And finally, if you want to contact me directly, you can email paul@themudpartnership.co.uk. All lowercase and of course with 2 Ds. I'd love to hear from you, and until the next time, bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and leave a review. We want your feedback. Help us support your journey uncovering mindfulness in search of a life more meaningful. From Mindfulness with Love, we'll catch you next time.